Yeah. So talk to me. How you feeling today?
I'm great. I'm at home in Atlanta. Been quarantining. It's been different, but it's been good. And I just had my son, Lil
Yes.
River. Yeah, so
Congratulations.
thank you. So capturing these first moments, these first moments of his life has been great with me not having to travel all over the country and
Sure.
world running after these artists. So it's
Right.
been good.
So,
I gotta
okay,
thank
so
you.
we have the baby. You've already described 2020 as adventurous. Look,
Hmm.
you are a black king. All right.
Hmm.
You are successful. You are from the great state of Louisiana. How do you
Hmm.
feel? I'm just gonna go on dive into it, right?
Hmm.
Today was George Floyd's memorial service, which they streamed live. It was a
Hmm.
beautiful service.
Yeah.
It was sad, of course, as any service would be, but it was beautiful. There were several celebrities there. Tiffany Haddish, Kevin Hart, T.I., Tyrese, and some others. To show their respect, pay their respect. Reverend L. Sharpton brought the message, which was amazing.
Yeah, nah, he did his thing. Reverend, look, we worked it today. I was like, okay, Reverend Al, Reverend Perm, that's what I call him. I was
Not
like, I was
her.
like, all right. I was like, man, maybe we want to dance through the Holy Ghost
Right,
and everything.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did his thing. I found the most powerful thing. He just kept, using the analogy how they kept their knee on us. You know
Yes,
what I'm saying?
yes.
And I just thought that that was so powerful. What do you think about that? Even though that actually happened, but the analogy that white people have kept their knee on us. What do you think about that?
I mean, I think it's factual. I think it's a fight um, that we're continuing to fight. I feel like I've been blessed to be woke or have an understanding of what's been going on and like the sins of this country and
Mhm.
putting us as black people in this systematic oppression and systems that's gotten us where we are today as a race as black people in this country and not be able to play on the equal playing field to with our white counterparts. So
Mhm.
um, I've definitely seen it. I've definitely seen it, and outside of I credit. What I'm saying I definitely credit and I encourage a bunch of young folks. I think me going to HBCU, Jackson State University, when I left New Orleans and when I got out of New Orleans, out of adolescent stage, out of teenage stage, I went to one of those schools that was born and bred, from a time when we didn't have resources of education, and the great thing about HBCUs is they make you appreciate what our ancestors kind of how they paved the way for us and the sacrifices they made. It made you feel good to be black. What I'm saying? That was one place in those years that I was there that I got comfortable in my blackness and got comfortable in being, affirmed, in a kind of affirmative
Yeah.
way of living in my skin and becoming the powerful person I was. You know what I'm saying? I think that, when it's always a conversation that comes up of the difference between HBCUs and private white institutions, you know, and what's so beneficial about them, outside of education. I think that's one thing that sticks out. Like, when you go to HBCU, you get that. You know what I'm saying? You feel that sense of community. You feel that sense of responsibility from
Mhm.
what was paved before us and how that school and the history of that school and the history of all the other schools that were kind of born and bred in that time
Mhm.
when we didn't have access to that, and you feel that sense of empowerment.
Yeah.
So and I took that into my career, and when opportunities presented themselves, I've always tried to, try to change the system and change the stigma of the oppression the best way that I could. You know what I'm saying? And that's a daily strive that I continue to do this day. You know what I'm saying? Like I strive daily to try to figure out how to uplift my people, pay it forward from everything that I was blessed with, and kind of get our people on an equal playing field.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's great. That is great, Tez. And I'm glad you brought up HBCUs because I did not attend an HBCU. I
It's
attended
okay.
it's okay. I know. PWI as we call it. And I have a friend and we always kind of go back and forth about it. But most of my friends who did attend HBCUs, they have so much pride,
Yeah.
their colleges.
Yeah.
And that is one thing
Yeah.
I love. I love,
Yeah.
the schools that I attended, but I don't have as much pride. And I
Yeah.
think for those of us who attended predominantly white institutions, what we had to do was we found our group. You know what I mean? It
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
almost like we thought we were at a black college until we went to class. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
And when we went to
Yeah.
class, it was like 2 or 3 of us in the classroom. You know,
Mm-hmm.
but outside of the classroom, all of our extracurricular activities, our Black student unions and all that stuff,
Mm-hmm.
just kind of hung in your
Hung
circle.
together. Yeah. Yeah. I got you.
Being from the city of New Orleans, in the
Yeah.
current state we're in with the whole Black Lives Matter, which is so profound. I'm out in LA right now, downtown LA. They're marching every single day, and I love
Mm-hmm.
it. I must say that I love it. Now, our quarterback,
Yeah.
Drew Brees, he had an interview similar to this, and he
Mm-hmm.
made a comment about his fellow players, with teammates, and about them kneeling. Are you
Mm-hmm.
familiar with the comment he made? And if so,
Absolutely. It was all yeah, absolutely. It definitely was flooding the
uh,
timelines of the news all day today. So absolutely. Yes. I mean, it's crazy. Listen, I'm from New Orleans. I love my city. I've
mhm.
never been a Saints fan. I admit, don't take my past, don't revoke my
No,
past. My
no.
daddy was a Cowboys fan. I'm a Cowboys fan, and I'm gonna stick to it. You know what I'm saying?
Uh-huh.
And when I tell you, at my first reaction, I was like, "This motherfucker idiot! I can't believe,
Uh,
like I didn't realize because I thought Drew was like a great, upstanding person, a great character. I
mhm.
didn't know he had that in him, and that came from a place that was like real, like that was on video, so you could see the emotion that was a real feeling. He really felt that way, right? And I never, about and I saw that he felt that way and was about the flag, was totally ignorant and oblivious to these millions of people that's across the country protesting and what's going on. So my first reaction was kind of anger, and then being a Cowboys fan, I had to play a little bit and kind of
Oh,
tease all my homeboys. Listen, every group, all my group messages, all my partners from New Orleans. I was
wow.
like, look at your man's, just to get jokes out of it. But on a
Mhm.
serious tip, um, one thing that I think that this presidency from Trump, people look at it is horrible and it's bad.
Mhm.
Um, I kind of, embrace it, and I think that it's actually cleansing, because
Mhm.
at this point, I love, even in business and in life, I like to know who my enemies are and who the people who disagree with me are. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So Trump has encouraged these people to really bring back out their sheets and hoods and feel bold about their views and their opinions. And I love that when, I want to have that, so I know that I'm not going in something blindly and dealing with a person that might cut my neck at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm.
I am a Christian,
Okay.
so I definitely was angry. Like I said, and I like to know, people's rhetoric, but I'm also a Christian and very understanding. Being a manager, you know, I have to deal with all types of different people, different personalities, different races, different religions, right? And I, you know, you have to have, you know, and it's a skill set that you, to be good at it, you have to have that skill set. So I deal with people who's total Republicans, and I could deal with that. You know what I'm saying? So I could
Right.
deal with differences of opinion, right? You know, but what I try to do with those with people, and I respect people that may have that opinion, but want to be educated on what's going on and apply to not close minded. That's the ones where I clash with. You know what I'm saying? So
Sure, sure.
if you, and like I said, I don't know if his rebuttal, his apology was genuine, but I respect I respect the white folks who who may have been ignorant, who's probably, you know, who never experienced and walked in our shoes and know
Mhm,
what it feels like to deal with the plights that we have to deal with as black people as a
mhm.
whole, that comes and get to a point of humility to where they want to listen and
Yeah.
learn. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't think that we will ever, if we stay in this country, we will
Mhm.
ever get a sense of equality uh, wholeheartedly until, it's sad to say, but until some of those white folks come over and be empathetic and sympathetic
Right.
to
Mhm.
our needs to help push
Sure.
these things
Push
forward.
our
You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? Because we're still it's this fact that we're still the minority in this
absolutely.
country, right? They're still the majority in this country. So it's gonna take some of them to come over and to be humbled enough to understand that like you know the position that we've been put in as a people from the beginning of this country, and empathize and be an ally to change everything. You know what I'm
Yes.
saying? So I open up. So I open. You know, I'm receptive to the people who could have a wild moment. Oh boy, he had a wild moment that's last night. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Like Drew had a
Mhm.
wild moment. I'm proud of all our people in the city for canceling him on site. I'm proud of his teammates, you know what I'm
Mhm.
saying, for canceling him on site to
Yeah.
really show him like this is way above, this is way deeper than the goddamn flag and the
Mhm.
anthem. You know what I'm saying? This is hundreds of years of
Sure.
oppression that people heard about. You know, so but I to say that so my opinion about Drew is, you know, I saw where he was and I knew where he was, but I'm hoping that that apology that he made today humble him enough to sit back and listen, and he could become an ally for the fight to have our people equal.
You know, the protests are mainly non-black people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I would even venture to say here in LA, mostly whites. And so I do
Mm-hmm.
believe many of them are seeing it from our lens. Many of them are, you know, becoming allies. And that's why I think change in little bitty increments, you know,
Mm-hmm.
is starting to happen. So I just hope that we can continue on that path.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I do understand that you were a band member at Jackson State University.
Yes, absolutely.
Talk
The
about
sonic boom,
it.
the sonic boom of the
Okay.
South.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
The best band in the goddamn land. Oh, I thought I'll just add that. I don't know where you was going with that. I just
Go
had to
ahead. Yeah.
add that.
Insert it. Just drop it. Yes.
Nah. I mean the band from high school at McMain. You know, I know we probably talk about New Orleans, but you know, from me and a couple of my homies starting the marching band at McMain,
Mhm.
and that being my footsteps to get out of the city and go to college. Uh, Now I can look back on it and see, you know, how my steps was ordered and
Oh,
how important that organization was. You know, within the marching band, I learned a lot of life lessons. I learned a lot of lessons of leadership that I took and implemented in my company that I'm running, you know, that I run today on a daily basis. You know what I'm
mhm.
saying? So being a section leader in the band, you know, which is an extended family,
Yeah.
learning different personalities, you know, coming out of the New Orleans bubble
Mhm.
and learning different cultures from different people across the country that became my brothers, you
Mhm.
know, all helped me shape and formulate kind of my philosophy on how I run my company today. Me and my partners, you know, it's just so happy we clicked. But it was the same philosophy I had within the percussion section, which is called War and Thunder at Jackson State. And those same philosophies, I tell everybody today, like that was the foundation. Like it was the foundation. So many things my degree at Jackson State was not in music business. I did not know, you know, I knew nothing about the music business when I came in. But what I can say is, you know, the life lesson I learned in college and being in the sonic boom in the South, you know, was very, very much so valuable in pivoted when I had to jump into this space. When I had to jump into an unknown space in this music business. When best friend called me up like, "Yo, I want you to be my manager," you know, and I just jumped in that water. You know, all those skills and all those things that I took from there automatically kind of shifted on in order for me kind of to survive and figure things out along the way, because like I didn't know anything about the music business.
Do we have any witnesses? Does anyone want to testify that Tez was the coldest on cymbals?
Yes, during my era. I can't deal with the youngest today. During my era.
Right, during
my gap of time.
Yes.
Yes.
No, that's really, really great. And for those of you who are watching who are not from New Orleans, he mentioned McMain High School, McMain Magnet. And McMain was a well-respected school, you know, during our time. It still is, but especially during our time, it was like one of the top three. And I must mention, it was public schools.
Who's the third? I know 1 and 2. Who's the third?
I'm about to tell you. It was number 1 was Benjamin Franklin.
Okay, that's debatable. Okay,
you know, according to test scores at the time.
That's debatable, but we'll see.
All right. And then it was McMain, and then it was McDonough 35 Blue Ribbon High School. Which I
can agree with that. Okay, I can agree with that. I can agree with that. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, you know, you had to test to get into all these schools, and we had a wonderful band at that time.
You did way better than McMain's band. Absolutely, I did.
As far as it was kind of like us and Kennedy and St. Aug, you know, during that time.
That was the 90s. Yeah, that was the 90s. Yes, absolutely.
And Tez, I was a clarinet and mellophone player. Concerts.
I didn't know that. Did I know that?
Marching band, all the above. Been playing since I was in 5th grade. Yes, sir.
Did I know that? Wow.
Yes. So I actually went to college on a music scholarship, on a band scholarship. How important is education to success or to your success?
As I've been we've been talking about this Trump America, right? As I've been figuring out my way after all these years, I've been figuring out, because of Trump America, been forced to figure out what can I do, what's my part on figuring out, you know, how to get our people on the equal playing field than our counterparts, you know. I went all the way back, you know, I started reflecting on my life, you know what I'm saying? My life been moving so fast in the music business, where like moments, like even my own personal successes, I never realized that people be like, "Oh, that's dope, or Tez, you do that," you know, none of that, because I'm always, it's been constantly moving like nonstop since I got into it, you know. So but I purposely slowed down, and because of Trump America, it's been scary, you know. So I purposely slowed down and started to think about, what can I do? What can I do, and what can I lend to my people to help get us in a place, in a equal place, because you know it's a scary time right now. It's a time of division. I see this president dividing us, and no telling what's going to come out of this. So I felt like it was my responsibility as a person in my business who a lot of young people look at as the sexy thing and like to follow. Well, not me per se, but my artists.
Yeah.
You know, they probably give a damn or know who the hell I am, but at least my artists. But I knew I had at least influence on those, or try to use my influence on those artists to kind of direct my narrative, right? So I started thinking, and it brought me back to McMain. You know, growing up in New Orleans, Fifth Ward, growing up to almost middle school, moved to the East. Um, Moved to the East, but just growing up and seeing, just growing up in New Orleans in the '90s, you know, it was a rough time, right? And you saw a lot. You saw a lot. I might have been involved in a lot, but I saw everything. You know what I'm saying? Like it was, you saw a lot growing up in the city. You know what I'm saying? Like that was normalized when and I didn't realize till I was damn near an adult that it shouldn't have been normalized. Like seeing a damn dead body on Canal Street during Mardi Gras season and be like, damn, that boy is leaking from the head or something. Like I thought that was a normal thing to get used to getting, gunshots on Bourbon every year. But as I got older and started telling friends that's not from New Orleans, like, what? Huh? Not what? They realized, like, what are you talking about? Like, that is not normal. McMain was a sanctuary. And one thing that stood out to me when I was there, as I was reflecting back, was they used to bring, like, former graduates that looked like us, had our same story, but with engineers, doctors, lawyers, you know what I'm saying? All these different professions. So you were able to see accountants, like you were able to see, so at that point I was like, damn, these people, grew up like me, same ways, went to the school and was able to achieve that. So it was the vision. It was the vision that was there. Outside of was getting a great education. That was teaching us college prep. We were taking ACT, SAT prep in 7th and 8th grade to kind of prep us, to go to college. You know what I'm saying? 90, probably 100% of every one of our students graduated high school. That wasn't a problem. Passed our state leak test, but it was already from the time we got through in those doors prepping us for the next level of education. So along with that and seeing people that look like me gave me hope and inspiration that, you know what I'm saying? That was my first eye opener at that school to know that I could do this, even though I'm living like I'm living and I got to go home to mama talk about food stamps and we ain't gonna eat today, or you know what I'm saying, lights getting cut off, whatever we had to deal with, I knew that there was hope, that there was somebody else who had my same story that got that. So that's how important, and that kind of traveled with me, right? You know what I'm saying? So they go to their first thing. They don't know that they could be a music producer on a TV show. They could a music supervisor. They could still love music and pick music for a certain television show and make a super career out of it, right? But we're not exposed to that, right? So that's how important education is to me. And I figured, and I know that our system is broken. It's not set up for us. It was never set up for us. It still isn't set up for us. So these last couple of years, education has been my solution. We're developing a platform right now called Be Great, and it's basically the Black Masterclass. So we're bringing in people from all different walks of all different types of careers that look like us, that's going to tell people how to do this. You want to be an astronaut, you want to be a chef, you want to own your own hair salon, you want to own your boutique clothing company. You know what I'm saying? I'm onboarding people to this platform in order for these kids to have access, because the education system is still rigged for us not to succeed.
You saw what you could be. We can't see, we can't be. And you saw that. Wow, he's from where I'm from. Wow, he understands me and he went on to do great, so I can. So the fact that you're giving back, Tez, dude, that's like amazing. And that's what we need our people to do, especially our Black men. Go out into the community and let our young boys know what they can be doing. Just share with us a little bit of how you started working with Wayne, and then how you just made that transition to where you are now.
Yeah, so Wayne and I met at McMain, that same school, that sanctuary, right? And where my other partner McMain and Young Money was there, and Currency, and we were always walking the same, roaming the same hallways at McMahon at those times, just trying to figure out our way. We got really close because he shot himself when he was like 12, and his mom was like um, trying to take him away from rap music because he was watching a rap video and playing with a gun and shot himself. So, but Wayne knew since he was like 7, 8 years old that was going to be his passion. That's what he wanted to do. He knew what his calling was early. So he was trying to figure out his way. You know what I'm saying? I was like the OG at the school. He was like a youngin. You know. So we got real tight because again, he was from the hood. He was from the 17th Ward, Holly Grove in New Orleans, and he was moving to the East. You know, the East was the place. So I keep saying the East for the people who watching this that's not from the city. At that time, the East was like middle class black people. When you made it, you was able to goddamn, you know, you got a little something. You was able to get,
right.
Yeah. You was able to get to, you know, you was able to move to the East. You was doing something, right? So he was moving to the East. He didn't know nobody because all these people from Hollywood. So at the same time when his mom took him away from rapping and he's trying to figure out what he's gonna do, he was moving to the East. So he was just trying to, you know, he was asking me like, yo, what can I do? So he joined the band. You know what I'm saying? So he joined the band. He was in the band for like a year. He was like in the band for a year. He played. He was on cymbals in the band and for a minute just trying to find his way. You know what I'm saying? And he's by me being in the East, he used to catch the bus together back home, and he'll stay at my crib until his mom got off from work or his dad or his stepdad at the time, rest in peace, Rabbit, came pick him up. So that's how we got really tight. When my 99, my sophomore year in college, he bagged that ass up, came out, they popped off. He started his career. I sat out a couple semesters. I went on a couple tour dates just as a roadie, picking up bags and stuff. But I realized, you know, I'm saying, like, that's not for me. I can't do nothing in the music business. So I went back to school. You know, I never saw past that. I still would stick strictly to the books and what I was setting myself up for what I was doing at Jackson State. You know, and it was just like at the my senior year, not my official senior year because I didn't graduate in 4 years. But I got out of there.
Right.
But what my senior year was at that time, this is 03, 04, 03. He called me, like, he was like, yo, bro, you know what I'm saying? He had a incident at home where he's broken up with his squatter members at the time. And I was just in school doing straight school. And he was like, man, I ain't got nobody I trust. And I never had a manager. And I need to be smart about my career. And I want you to be my manager. Would you be a manager? And at the time, it was really crazy because I had just got saved, right? So it was like spiritual warfare for me. I was like, wait, God, what are you doing to me right now? Like, I was like, I got to a point where I was in a good space as a human and really got really spiritual. And I was like, yo, how are you going to just save me and bring this lifestyle in my life right now? The message was to, you know, you need to go out there, cover your best friend in the world, you know what I'm saying? So that was my calling all my life that I felt like I had to follow. And I jumped in head first, you know, and kind of figured it out from there. But that was me. You know, because I had a job. I had a job at CNN, set up. I was a mass comm major. Everything was lined up for me to do what I was doing when when I was dealing with my major at school. But I shifted it based off of the calling I had, which I was one of the lucky people that have gotten that early in my life. And I've been on that path ever since. You know what I'm saying? I've been like living on that path ever since, and it's evolved. And I got, you know, and I never thought I'd have another artist. I was like, you know, when Drake came up, Drake was the next artist to actually manage, right? And he came like, yo, Tez, can manage me? And I was like, I didn't even get into this for to be like, I was not into it to be a music manager. Like, I was only in the music business to protect my friend and figure out how I can help my friend succeed, right? So I never thought of that. But when I told Wayne, he gave me the blessing. He was like, "Yeah, man, yeah. Make sure you sign the Young Money at some point."
Mhm.
I was like, well, he was like, yeah, that makes sense for you to manage him and bring him over to what we building at Young Money. So, and
Wow.
the rest is history. You know?
No, but God had a different plan for you. That's amazing. You was a mass comm major, then you went to cover, as you said, your best friend, which was so powerful. And then because you accepted that call, God opened the doors for so much more, which leads me to where you are now. And
Yeah,
correct me if I'm wrong, the Blueprint Group and Maverick,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
So what artists are a part of that organization?
Right. So that's the management company. So that's
Okay.
been so outside of the role I had at Young Money as running the business, and managing Wayne and then managing Drake. I met my partner who uh, probably 3 years in, it's 16 years, so probably 13 years ago now,
Mhm.
who had like values, same
Mhm.
morals, same principles, who had Kanye West at the time. So at one point, at the beginning, we had Kanye, Wayne, Drake, all at the same time, and we built the management company up.
Mhm.
He started with Kanye, I started with Wayne, and we kind of built our company up and expanded it from there. So now it's grown into, on the management side, outside of those Jill Scott Roots, Lil Nas X,
Mhm.
which was one of the latest successes we had last year.
Yeah.
G-Eazy. Um, um, shoot, man, I'm
A
about to
lot.
forget. Yeah. So it's all been a blessing. Like I said, never ever thought in high school while I was in New Orleans, growing up, I only wanted a good job to take care of my family,
We all
and
want.
that's it. I just wanted something simple. I never wanted money and anything else that come with everything I've saw. I never even thought of traveling the world.
Mm.
Um, like that wasn't even a vision of mine. You know what I'm saying? But that's one thing about education and accessibility and these visions. Like these kids, I feel like they need to understand that all this is attainable. I
Mhm.
was lucky. I was lucky. I tell people I was lucky. I
You
was lucky
weren't
to.
lucky, Tez. You weren't lucky. You were blessed. It
I
was
was blessed. I
perfect.
was
Yes.
blessed. But I tell a lot of these younger managers, right? Like I
Mhm.
didn't have to have an artist to start from the ground up. Wayne had already would been in the game,
Yeah.
you know, 5 years or so
Mhm.
before I had manager duties. You know what I'm saying? So I had a head start
Yeah.
on getting in rooms and figuring out how to be a manager and generate money. I didn't have to do it from scratch
Mhm.
uh, with him. So that was definitely a blessing. But everything is
Wanted to say,
attainable.
like, as far as purpose, like
Hmm.
I am a strong believer in purpose, and
Hmm.
I definitely think you're working in it. And until we find that, we're kind of just twiddling our thumbs. We're going to work, we're working
Hmm.
9 to 5s, and there will, and not at all saying anything is wrong with that. But once you
Hmm.
find your purpose, you begin to propel. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Um,
absolutely.
yeah, and
And
that's a wonderful feeling.
yeah, and it what and I just say this too, Tameka. Finding purpose wasn't easy because it was at one point where
Mhm.
um, it was at one point early on that I thought that me finding purpose and knowing my purpose would and living in it would would guarantee that everything would be cool. That road would be clear
Oh,
and great, right? I got to a point. I got to a point where um, Wayne and I we had a big argument about something, and I left like this like a year and a half in. And I left the
mhm.
road. I was like I quit. Um, and it was just so happened I went back to Jackson, I went back to Mississippi, got in the master's program,
Okay.
uh, and I was a percussion instructor for a year and a half, for like
Nice.
a year at Jackson State. So I
Mhm.
went back to because my director gave me another scholarship, so I just went back there. And I was just at church, and my pastor came out. Like, basically, what are you doing here? And I was like, I was just bent like, nah, he did this and I came in this world. Like, how can I just get to this place? And now I got to deal with this. He was like, son, just because God told you that, you was blessed enough to understand what your calling was. He never said it was gonna be easy. This
Come
might
on.
just he's like this might be the time when you need to protect him the most, when
Wow.
he's unraveling and you know what I'm saying. And I
Gee.
said that and I was like, he was like, go leave here and go back, you know what I'm saying, back to whatever you was doing. And I went back and, it's been history ever since. And from there, you know, but those first couple of years, it was hard. And even after that, like we've had trying moments. Like we've
Sure.
had
Sure.
ups and downs, trials and tribulation. It was very public about that Cash Money lawsuit. That
Yeah.
was very hard. It's probably the first time where I didn't have the answers to figure out the light at the end of the tunnel. And it took a lot. Like it took breaking down and going. There was a lot of tests, but kept the faith,
Yeah.
steadfast, stayed steadfast,
Mm-hmm.
and ended up like coming out better than we've ever thought we could be as well. And it's failure comes with it. I failed a lot of times before I got to where I got to, and all those accolades that you read in the beginning. It came from a lot of bumping my head and failing, but getting back up and learning from those mistakes and becoming greater.
Yes. Tez, I don't know what to say after that. I mean, I agree with every single word, like one thing I can really relate to is the fact that purpose is not going to be easy, right? That's the first step. Okay,
Yeah.
I've discovered what I'm supposed to do. Great, yay. All right, now how do I do it? And you're gonna fail, like you say, you're gonna fall down. You're gonna wonder why God placed you here. It's just so much you're gonna go through. But if you stick with it, you'll get to a place where you can, kind of float. And that can take a long time to get there.
Absolutely.
So, I just like to gel with like-minded people. And I thank you so much, Ted, for doing this today. I know you have a busy schedule. You are booked and busy. And so I do
I'm good. I'm about to make some bottles. I'm about to make some. I get on night duty in a
appreciate
little
some
bit, so that's
new
that's my next
products.
thing.
I
I
love
don't
it.
sleep at night. I don't sleep. I'm
Oh,
on night duty every day. One thing I realized as I got into this business, I think I tapped on a little bit earlier,
mhm.
is growing up in New Orleans, the hustle, the mindset, the perseverance, like that all started in that city. You know what I'm saying? We got a great
Yes,
spirit in the people of our city.
absolutely.
If we ever, I think a handicap of a lot is we get caught up in that because we got such a laissez-faire type of flow with our city, and sometimes we get caught up and comfortable in our city.
Mhm.
But our people in our city are made to survive,
Yes,
and if you're from New Orleans and you're listening to this and you ever strive to do anything, I'm letting you know what I'm saying, once you get out there and get your feet wet and just jump, those survival skills are going to come into play and you could be successful at whatever you're thinking about.
absolutely. Yes.
Yeah.
Said it. He said it. Ditto. Thanks again. And we'll talk soon.
No problem.
All
Thank
right,
you.
Ted.
All right,
Bye-bye.
y'all.